That wasn't the most exciting sunrise I've ever shot, but it was the least exciting sunrise I've ever shot. Hey guys, can you keep it down for 1 sec? Trying to record an intro here. Welcome to the vlog. Hi, I'm John. I've been running for 24 years and I also have 10 years coaching experience, 8 of which include head coach of a track and field program that I created. I want to give you 5 tips today, 5 simple actionable tips that you can use immediately to help make running more fun. I'm not going to make you overhaul your diet. I'm not going to make you buy fancy shoes or a fancy watch. These are tips that you can use today where you are with what you have. So let's get started. What I've noticed in my experience is that people don't necessarily dislike running. They dislike the way they were taught that running should be. We're born to run. You hear teachers and parents telling kids all the time, don't run on the blacktop, don't run in class, don't run indoors. We have this innate desire to run, and at some point it's taken out of us, whether it's a gym teacher who makes you run a mile every week or a coach who wasn't any good. The common theme between all these examples is that fun was not prioritized. Let me pause right here because I can already hear the questioning of whether results and fun can coexist. I want to tell you why they can. Our track program from day one was built on the basis of fun. High fives, tag, ultimate frisbee were all staples of the track program. This goes against the stereotypical idea of hard work, right? Of gritting your teeth, getting out there and pushing it no matter how hard it is, no matter how bad you feel. And our kids worked harder than the average kid. And that was because we had less of those days, not more. We got the results. Over the course of 10 years, I kept track of over 500 time trials, measuring the first day to the last day. Out of 500, maybe one of them just tripped. Maybe one of them was sick. Maybe one of them was having a bad day. But every single one of those time trials was faster on the last day than they were on the first day of a 2-month program. And we won about 50% of the events at track meets. And considering that there's about 5 to 10 different teams at a track meet, 50% is pretty good. Our kids were able to work harder than the other ones because it was fun. And because it was fun, it was easier for them to work harder for longer. So, the $1 million question, how do you make running fun? I've got 5 tips mixed up into 2 categories to make running fun. First category being choices. So, tip number 1, mix up your route. Most of your runs are gonna be done near home. That's just the way it goes. Running takes a lot of time in itself. So, adding travel time really adds up. But I would highly recommend at least 1 to 2 times a week, just mix up your running route. Running requires consistency. And with consistency, training might get stale. So, whether it's actually driving out to a nice running trail, maybe it's a new area within running distance of where you live, or just running your usual route backwards. Variety can keep your running fresh, it can keep it fun. Tip number 2, mix up your workouts. Always give yourself options. For example, if you don't have time to do your long run in on Sunday, swap it for another workout on Tuesday. You don't want to do a speed workout? Do a HIIT workout. If you don't want to run, just cross train. This is not an all or nothing. Of course, it would be ideal to get your scheduled run in at the scheduled time, at the scheduled pace, every time. But in real life, that stuff doesn't really happen. Being able to adapt is always better. And yes, having those tough days, that's just a part of running. But it's overly glorified. Like, how many times have you seen Rocky smile when he's training to fight somebody? I think this is the part where a lot of people have it backwards. You don't want to chase those days. You want to minimize those days. And if you can't find a way to minimize those days, that's a great way to burn out. That's a great way to lose your enjoyment of running. Let's move on to category number 2. Listen to your body. Listening to your body is key to making sure that you're consistently healthy and feeling good on your runs. Running is fun when you feel good. Running is easy when you feel good. But how do you walk that tightrope of maintaining your consistency while also listening to your body? How do you tell the difference between your body actually needing rest and just a lazy Monday morning? Tip number 3, resting heart rate. Resting heart rate is an objective way of telling the difference between just feeling a little bit lazy and your body actually needing rest. Most fitness trackers can do this. If you don't have a way of doing this, just 2 fingers right here on your neck or 2 fingers right here on the wrist. You want to do this right after you wake up, before you leave the bed. Always right after you wake up, before you get out of bed, because that controls for any external factors that might affect your reading. You'll get an idea for what your baseline resting heart rate is. If your heart rate that day is 10% above average, you take an easy day, maybe cut your mileage in half. If it's 20% over, that's a day off, no questions asked. Now to topic number 4, run by time, not distance. We are going to need this whiteboard again. You want to push on your good days and pull back to avoid injuries on your tough days. This seems simple enough, but in the heat of the run, this is kind of hard to follow. Running by time instead of distance can force you to follow this rule. Let me explain. If you run by distance, it forces you to push on your bad days, and it also cuts you off on your good days. So let's say you have a 5-mile run scheduled and your usual pace is 8 minutes a mile. On an average run, this takes you 40 minutes. If you're feeling good and you run 7 minutes a mile, this cuts your run down to 35 minutes, where if you're feeling bad and you run 9 minutes a mile, this increases your run to 45 minutes. So you're running 10 minutes longer on a bad day compared to a good day. Now let's use the same example, but run by time instead of distance. So we're gonna stick with 40 minutes. Your 8 minute a mile pace will still take you 5 miles, just like always. This time though, if you're feeling bad, your 40-minute run at 9 minutes a mile will only take you 4.4 miles. And if you're feeling good and you run 7 minutes a mile, your 40-minute run will now take you 5.7 miles. So running based on time, your good run is 1.3 miles longer than your bad run, and this is what we want. Tip number 5, the 80-20 rule. One of the biggest differences between pros and amateurs is consistency. And pro runners are out there running more days than the amateurs because they know how to minimize injuries and burnout. But how exactly do they do this? Many of the most successful runners have used some variation of the 80-20 rule. This means that about 80% of your runs should be easy and 20% should be hard. Any more than 20% and you're not giving your body enough time to recover, you're not going to be at your best for your hard workouts. You're also risking injury, and taking extended time off usually is not a great thing for running. So how easy is easy? Easy runs should be done at about 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Most fitness trackers can track this. If you can't track this, an easy way to think of it is conversational pace. Basically, you should be able to have a full-on conversation, full coherent sentences with somebody, and that's how you can basically stop yourself from going too fast. Most elite runners run their easy runs at about 50% slower than race pace. So for example, if your race pace is 8 minutes a mile, your easy run should be 12. Sticking to that 80-20 rule is going to keep you out there running more consistently, feeling good on more days, and most importantly, having more fun, especially on your harder workouts. So that's about it. Those are my 5 tips to making running fun. I make it a point to answer all of my comments and feedback, so I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's it. Happy running.